We begin with day 2 of a 3-day Korean summit, and it would appear that bold steps towards peace on the peninsula have been made, as Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un sign a pact to halt military activity along the DMZ. Manila Chan is following the story and has the latest. Manila, this relationship bloomed close quickly.
It certainly did. It moved very fast. A lot of action in the last 48 hours, Scotty, over in Pyongyang. What a difference a year makes, right? This time last year, as you might recall, President Trump was calling Kim names on Twitter, and now we're talking about peace on the peninsula. Go figure. A clear sign of growing trust between the two Koreas, the Pyongyang military agreement also calls for the withdrawal of soldiers along the DMZ and even disarming the men who stand guard at the Panmunjom border village. Now, Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in both even agreed to close 11 border guard posts by the end of this year to boot. Listen to what South Korean President Moon had to say about this historic meeting.
Citizens of North and South Korea, the Korean peninsula without war has begun. South and North Korea have agreed today to remove any threats that exist in the Korean peninsula that could cause war. We agreed to establish a joint military commission to hold regular discussions in order to carry out a military agreement.
Now, I have to add that President Moon and Chairman Kim both say that moving forward on any such permanent disarmament will require action on the part of the United States as well. The U.S. is the missing third party here, some criticizing, even saying that the U.S. is more like the third wheel in this relationship. But President Moon did preface the plan by noting that the U.S. needed to, quote, reciprocate the measure, though it was kind of unclear exactly what he meant by that. Now, President Trump, of course, chiming in on this historic move on his favorite platform on Twitter. Now, he said Kim Jong-un has agreed to allow nuclear inspections subject to final negotiations and to permanently dismantle a test site and launch pad in the presence of international experts. In the meantime, there will be no rocket or nuclear testing. Hero remains to continue being returned home to the United States. Also, North and South Korea will file a joint bid to host the 2032 Olympics. Very exciting. And as the two Koreas continue to mend relations, Moon Jae-in has invited Kim to visit Seoul in the very near future. Chairman Kim immediately accepted that invitation, marking the first visit of its kind. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo acknowledged that sentiment, adding that Kim had already promised full denuclearization before the end of Trump's first term in January of 2021. So, Scotty, during this visit, the two men discussed the elephant in the room, which was the U.S., President Trump, and America's role here in the future of the peninsula, obviously. So we can probably expect another face-to-face meeting between Trump, Kim, and Moon in the months to come before we actually start seeing any concrete plans start to take shape.
Now we go to John Sitilides, geopolitical strategist at Trilogy Advisors. John, thank you for joining us.
Great to be with you, Scotty.
Great. What is your latest analysis of these latest developments that are happening on the Korean Peninsula?
Very tentative, measured, incremental progress, but in the right direction. So it's good news, but as with anything that we do with North Korean leaders, very much concerned that we not only are building a trusting relationship, but underscoring the importance of verifying and then re-verifying and re-verifying everything that the North Korean regime states it's going to do and actually claims it has done.
Well, now, can we trust the North to denuclearize themselves?
I don't know if it's a matter of trusting them to denuclearize. I don't know that they ever actually will. It's a matter of trusting them to do even the small steps that they've announced they're going to be taking regarding a missile test site, a missile launch pad, perhaps this major nuclear facility, and bringing international inspectors. But will we be able to go in with unfettered inspections anytime, or will they be very conditional? So the track record with Kim Jong-un and his father and grandfather are very, very poor. So building trust will take a very long time. But again, they're talking between the two Koreas and then with the United States. So far, so good, but we have a very long way to go.
Well, trust is a two-way street. So the question is, for the actions that the U.S. has to do, can the U.S. government be trusted? I mean, look at what happened to Gaddafi and look what happened to him.
Well, that's probably what Kim Jong-un is thinking about all the time, looking at Muammar Gaddafi's final departure from this life, looking at what happened with Saddam Hussein, and then looking at what happened with a country like Ukraine that had one of the largest nuclear forces at the end of the Soviet Union and gave them away for security guarantees from the U.S. and Russia together. So I think he's very shrewd in seeing to what extent he can hold on to even some of his perhaps 65 nuclear weapons that we believe he has today. But I'm not convinced that he ever intends to actually fully denuclearize. And until we can agree on what the definition of denuclearization is, we're not going to achieve the final desired outcome.
Well, what do you think has brought him to the table after so many years of isolation?
Well, part of it is that just itself, the isolation, but I think the economic sanctions have been absolutely crippling for his regime. And I think what President Trump has done is really just tighten this process as much as he can with China's help. And this is not simply a bilateral process, it's multilateral. But I think that's what the sanctions regime may actually weaken in the weeks and months ahead as China decides for its own purposes to start to relax the sanctions and open up the trade routes again and make it more difficult for the Korea denuclearization process and eventual reunification process to advance.
Well, Kim Jong-un gave credit to President Donald Trump. We know President Donald Trump is taking credit for these moves. But do you actually think he's actually played a significant role in these peace talks? Or was this just going to happen based on the events that was going on within his own country?
No, I think President Trump deserves an enormous amount of credit for opening up the process, for taking a very different approach. This could all blow up. We don't know that it's going to succeed. But we see that we have a level of progress and mutual trust building between South Korea and North Korea that has not existed since the Korean War. So that's very, very important moving forward to build regional trust, not just between the U.S. and North Korea. And President Trump has blown diplomacy apart with different styles of doing diplomacy in other parts of the world, but especially here in North Korea. So far, indications are this could work. But again, we're a long, long ways away.
Well, I like your optimism. Do you believe that we'll be having the Olympics there in the near-time future?
No.
Well, that you can be pessimistic about it. Thank you for joining us.
Realistic.
Realistic might be a better word. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.